Do we really need camera monitors in NASCAR?
3, 2, 1.
What's up, everyone? Todd Brown, That Racing Show. Thanks for dropping by for this pit stop segment. We're going to be talking about that rear view camera and the aero blocking and all the things that go with that. But first, I don't like to keep anything or put anything political into my episodes or anything like that. I try not to anyways. I don't like politics and racing. But I do got to start out with this right here, and that's my condolences to the fallen police officers in Charlotte yesterday. While this is not a racing related story, so many of the drivers, crew members, owners, everybody, myself included, live in the greater Charlotte area. And it's something that's impacted community around here. You can see it in people when you're out. You just feel it and you can see it. And I just want to say, I hope that Charlotte Motor Speedway does something to honor these fallen soldiers or fallen police officers during Memorial Day weekend, along with the fallen soldiers, because I think they need to be honored for what they've done to our community around here. And once again, my condolences to all involved. Now, before we move on to the rear view camera, a couple other things I want to cover right here. Story, short track racing right here. And unfortunately, this doesn't have a happy ending, but hopefully it will in the very end. But a guy that I know, driver out there at Tri-County Speedway, very ironic how we actually met. He actually shares a name with somebody who I used to race with back in the 80s, who I haven't seen since then. And I contacted him on social media, and we just kind of talked back and forth different times and everything. But this is Marvin Miller, and he's known for running paint schemes to honor other drivers from the past. He runs one with Bob Presley, who was, of course, Robert Presley's dad, and also a Butch Lindley paint scheme. But anyways, he was out there racing Saturday at Tri-County Speedway. Sunday, hopped on his Harley for a memorial ride and was unfortunately struck in an accident with this here and suffered multiple injuries, a compound fracture to his foot, broken ankle, and apparently the ball in his hip went through his pelvis. So a lot of surgeries ahead of him. And I hate to see this for somebody who he just got out of racing, just sold his race car a little over a year ago and decided, man, I cannot get away from this, and got back out there. But obviously an end to a season. But anyways, get better there quickly, Marvin, and hope to see you back out there. Now, take a look at this right here. This wild, crazy stuff. I don't even get this. Yeah, that's a mannequin falling from the sky there, or the pedestrian walk at Barber Motorsports Park. I'm sorry. This is funny, but scary in the same situation. But this was at the Children's of Alabama Indy Grand Prix this past weekend. And this mannequin is known as Georgina. She is obviously a staple of the racetrack and been there for a long time. And yeah, once again, she's dropping down there, lost her drawers in the process. And man, I can only imagine being a driver coming around seeing that, because even if you thought for a minute it was a mannequin, had to go through your head for a second. Damn, was that a person? So, she did suffer a little injury here at the end of this, but luckily was out there to take pictures with the race car drivers following the incident. And she'll probably be memorialized at the racetrack and right back up there, not waving to the drivers as they come by anymore, but giving them a what's up. But so let's get to this story of the backup camera here, or that's what it should be anyways, for backing up in a race car. Obviously, it's not being used as a backup camera. It's being used as a blocking mechanism. And me personally, I have no idea why there is a camera mounted to see behind you in a race car. For decades, since the beginning of racing, people have used mirrors. People in their cars going down the road use mirrors. I know technology is advancing, trying to keep the racing aspect to passenger cars so they can sell different aspects like this. But these cameras have no business in a race car. And what I want to do first here is let's talk about some of the drivers who talked about this. Let's take a listen to Kyle Larson.
Moving around, and I knew once I got within 3, he was just gonna, start moving around and shut my air off. So it's just really easy to do it. I don't know if he runs a camera, but probably does, and it's really easy. And I shot to the bottom, and he pulled down to the bottom. So it's just it's really easy with the cameras and the car. You know, it's easy to air block. Honestly, like if they took the cameras out of the car, that's probably one of the little things I think that could fix it.
Kyle, obviously on the right track right there, saying let's get rid of this. This doesn't need to be there. Once again, and some other drivers shared their opinion about using aero blocking, and I think this guy right here gave one of the best comments or the best interviews of the race.
Frustration kind of being stuck behind the 10 car there late on the race.
Yep.
Is that just with the cars, the blocking with the aero?
Yep.
It's obvious now that the old Rowdy Busch is coming back out. I like to see it. I like to see him get like this. I think the frustration of not winning here recently is starting to catch up with him, and we're starting to see that a little more aggressive Kyle Busch out there. But yeah, I don't agree with this as far as having these in there, using this. It should be something the drivers should use their mirrors for, something that's been going on for so long. But I want to talk about right now just a little bit of the history of this, in case you don't know. This really got going in 2012 with Audi, and they first put a camera like this in a LMP sports prototype car. It was for safety aspects purposely, because these cars are extremely low. The driver is centered in the car, and they have no rear window, so there's no way to have a mirror to see behind the car. If you take a look, you can see the mirrors up on the fenders on the front like this. So obviously, drivers' field of vision has to look that far to see something behind them and anything else. And you got to look at the elements. These guys race at night. They race in the rain. So many different things. So that makes it hard to see out of these mirrors. So they implemented this camera here. And the cool thing about this was they were fully programmable, so they could do other things as well, give them warnings and different data that they could see on this. And the other cool part about this was because of the way it was, and again, with the elements they run in, when it rained, when it was at night, and there was high beam headlights shining on them, they could still see clear as day. So it was a very safety implemented aspect with that. And then in 2014, Nissan come out with this wild ride right here. This was the Nissan Zeode RC. And this car, once again, had the same aspects, sitting low, no window to see out of the back like this. So they come up with a different design right here. And if you look at this right here, it's wild because this thing actually had arrows that pointed, and it showed where the car coming up behind them was intending to pass, which I think is a little over the top right there. But it could show them their closing speed, just different things that I don't like seeing being taken out of the driver's hands as far as just mentally behind the wheel. I think that's a little crazy to be doing that, but yet they did it. And, and there's people out there doing their own thing. This is a guy who races on his own. He's got a Porsche, and you can see this right. He put a drone camera on the back of the car and then a 7-inch LCD monitor up there to make it work. And now this is something that's part of normal racing. You can buy these systems, as you can see right here. This one here's a little costly, or you can go down to Walmart, $55, and pick this up and throw it in your dirt street stock out there if you wanted to. But we all know dirt drivers like that, they're not going to do that because they're too busy looking forward and not worried about all this stuff with this. And that brings me to the point of, why does NASCAR need this? For years, for decades, NASCAR has relied on mirrors, the rear view mirror, side mirrors, and I think that's where it should stay. We've recently seen so much aero blocking. We've seen so much blocking in general, which has caused first some bad racing in so many ways, and also wrecks. Wrecks continuously happen because here's this camera. All I got to do is look down. You can see where they're going, and it's just slightly slowly ruining the race in action. Now, I want to go back to these other cars right quick, because if you look inside of these cars here, you can see all the different buttons. I mean, they have buttons on the steering wheel, buttons everywhere. I mean, hell, I'd be lost in there. I'd be trying to hit something to do one thing and turn windshield wipers on. But they have all these different buttons inside of these race cars. And then if you take a look at NASCAR here, and I want you to take a look at this old car first. This is the old 11 car. And you can see, pretty simple dash, just some switches in there. And now you take a look at the next gen car, and kind of the same. Just got some of them switches. You don't have all these other buttons and everything else. Obviously, there's more things in the car now that drivers have to implement and flip switches and things of that nature, but nothing like this right here. And I will say this much, though. The Camaro that they used at the Garage 56 prototype there, looking at this one, you can see this car, how many different things it has there. Obviously, they need that in that car right there with the conditions. I mean, they have headlights, everything else. So, but NASCAR Cup cars, they do not need this. It's something that has not been part of the sport for so long. In my idea, it's actually hurting the racing so much. And I 100% completely agree with Kyle Larson. Get that damn thing out there. Send the driver's hands. And man, if you've ever raced, you hear noises around you too that help you with things. So that camera, it don't need to be there. Get that damn thing out. But also want to touch on a couple things right here. Kyle Busch dropping his lawsuit against Rev Racing. Details really aren't out there yet, but it's interesting. Spire Motorsports now provides the trucks for Rev Racing. Obviously, Spire bought the team from Kyle Busch, and Kyle's driving for him in some races this year. So I don't know if Spire said, hey, here's just some money. Get rid of this deal here. It's distracting, and that's what happened. Or, damn microphone. Or if it was just something else. But and also, the news, Kevin Harvick getting in there to practice for Kyle Larson at North Wilkesboro. I think this is wild right here. The fact that Mr. H called up Kevin Harvick, guy who finished out his career in a Ford, to get behind the wheel. And also that Kevin was like, hell yeah, I'll go out there and get in that car. I think it's probably something maybe Kevin's wanted to do for a long time, get behind the wheel of one of them Hendrick cars. So going to be interesting to see that. And it's also going to be interesting to hear Kevin's view during the race, because he's going to have had seat time in that car. So I'm looking forward to all that. But anyways, once again, condolences to the families. Tragic. Truthfully, I wasn't going to put this in, but I just found out a little while ago that one of the officers who was shot, who survived, is actually a customer of my son, who works in the optometry field. At least that's what everybody's thinking right now. So once again, thoughts are with the families, everything with that. And put your comments down below. What do you think about these cameras? Do they need to go? They suck. Drivers should be doing it with the mirrors. Look forward. Don't worry about what the hell's behind you. Get your blocking too while you're at it. But anyways, you like what I'm doing? Hit that subscribe button down there. And man, as always, have a safe day, and we'll see you at the checkered flag.